On May 10th, I watched Anthony Edwards defy gravity and dunk Kevon Looney into another dimension.
Oh my goodness! Anthony Edwards scrapes the sky and flushes it!
I should have been losing my mind, but it was hard to feel anything. When the heart of the game was across the court, buried in a hoodie, staring blankly into nothing. The best of the best, superstars clashing, basketball that writes legacies. That's what the NBA playoffs are supposed to be. But lately,
there is concern for Stephen Curry.
Steph Curry, officially a left hamstring strain, will not return to tonight's game.
I'm told he is expected to miss at least a minimum of 1 week, so he's going to be out.
The playoffs used to be a stage for greatness. Now, they're a test of who can simply make it to the end. But is that what we want? To crown a champion, not for rising above the rest, but for just staying alive? The league sees it, we see it, and if this continues, if the stars keep disappearing when it counts, the NBA could lose what made it an icon in the first place. But somehow, nothing changes. Why? Hey guys, a while back my computer got hacked. Someone stole my credit card information and started racking up charges. Luckily, they didn't get into my Hoop Reports YouTube account, because if they had, that would have been a nightmare. If I had to guess where it happened, probably while using public Wi-Fi, at a cafe, a library, maybe even while traveling. I didn't realize this before, but public Wi-Fi is one of the easiest ways for hackers to steal your data. That's why I'm working with today's sponsor, NordVPN. If you're like me, always using public Wi-Fi at cafes, libraries, or airports, NordVPN protects your connection so you don't fall into hidden traps. And here's what I love. They've got a built-in dark web monitor that scans the dark web and alerts you if your data is already out there. It's so simple to use, super fast. And now, I don't go online publicly without it anymore. So don't wait for something bad to happen like I did. Protect yourself now with NordVPN. And right now, you can get their 2-year plan plus 4 extra months at nordvpn.com/hoopreports. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guaranteed. Every year I watch it all, game after game, night after night. But after watching Steph go down this season, something finally clicked. The NBA is slowly killing its own product, 82 games at a time.
And I'll be honest, the fact that this wasn't really all that significant of a, drastic position raises my concern about.
As someone who's had a league pass since day one, who still remembers random box scores from 2015, who's basically a walking NBA encyclopedia, I'll be real. There are stretches of the 82-game season that are just brutal to sit through.
Now that January, end of January, like the last week of January, All-Star Weekend.
Oh,
dog shit. That's the whack part of the season right there.
Many nights feel meaningless, and when I do tune in, half the time, the stars I came to see aren't even on the floor.
And only 2 players all-stars this year of the 26 are targeting 82 games played this season.
Take this past January, Warriors versus Grizzlies on the 4th. A spicy matchup full of history. But before that story could breathe, they faced the Kings, Heat, and 2 more teams in the next 6 nights. 5 games in 7 nights. No time to rest, no time to build drama, no time to feel anything. And the worst part? Steph, the face of the franchise, the reason people tune in, only played in 3 of those games. Not from injury, but because at 37, if he pushed through all 5, he wouldn't have made it to February. Now stretch that chaos across 30 teams in 6 straight months, and what you get isn't energy or excitement. it's exhaustion. That's why the league had to create the in-season tournament.
As a pretty casual NBA fan, but somebody who follows the sport pretty well, it's hard for me to even really get super dialed into the NBA in-season tournament when I know at its roots it was created to make the regular season mean something a little bit for these guys.
If boredom were the only issue, we'd let it slide. But it's hurting the one thing that matters, the playoffs. Joel Embiid, the most dominant big since Shaq, can't even make it to April in one piece. Last year, Giannis broke down right before the playoffs. And this year, his co-star Damian Lillard went down with an Achilles injury.
Lillard volleyballs it over, and Lillard goes down with an injury. He's grabbing his high ankle of the left leg.
Can you imagine the pain of being a loyal fan, sticking it out for 6 months, only to see your team fall apart at the finish line? Not because they weren't good enough, but because the system pushed too hard for too long.
The series, Jason Tatum literally just tore his Achilles.
This was basketball in the 80s. As you can see, the defense is mostly stationary, and nobody's really guarding the three-point line. Players were tougher on each other, sure, but possession to possession, the pace was slower, players moved less. Fast forward to today, and it's a completely different game.
But you can't compare pre-1980 with
yes, you can.
With the modern
Yes, you
NBA.
can.
No, you cannot.
The NBA might look the same on paper, same court size, same 5-on-5 setup, but the game itself, it's evolved into something else entirely. Today's athletes are faster, stronger, more explosive. They're cutting, sprinting, rotating, non-stop. The movement off the ball would gas out most players from the 80s. And yet, despite the evolution of the game, the league is still using the same old format, built for a version of basketball that no longer exists. Now, if you just look at the numbers, it might seem like the game was faster back then. Pace per 100 possessions was technically higher. But here's the problem with that stat. Back in the day, teams shot quicker, turned the ball over more, and thrived on transition buckets. Today, the pace statistic might be lower, but the strain is higher. Every possession is calculated. And what does this all lead to? Wear and tear. And a ruined postseason. The NBA knows it. We know it. So the question is, why does this keep happening? The answer's simple: money. The NBA might be the best basketball league in the world, but first and foremost, it's a business. More games mean more revenue, and the number one rule of business: maximize profit. So, cutting down games, that's the last thing the league wants. Instead, they're chasing quantity, doing just enough to preserve quality, while squeezing every last ounce of energy from the players. I mean, just look at the recent changes they've made. Players must now appear in 65 games to qualify for awards. Teams can't rest more than one star per night. Stars are required to play in national TV and in-season tournament games. And little by little, the damage is starting to surface. Steph Curry didn't go down because of a collision. He got hurt because his body was pushed to the edge. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. At this rate, the NBA championship won't go to the best team, just the one that survives the longest. But let's be real, we're here for greatness, not a marathon. We want to see the best go head-to-head, not just who survives. So, now the question is, what can the NBA actually do about this? Steph Curry versus Anthony Edwards. Giannis and Dame taking on the Pacers, together. Joel Embiid, arguably the most dominating big of the decade, actually healthy for once in the playoffs. I want to sit down and watch the best of the best go at it. But for that to happen, the NBA needs to rethink the regular season.
It's a fine line.
What's the number? It's not 82 no more.
It's not 82.
What's the number?
Cut it to about 60. That's one game every 3 days. Time to recover, time to train, time to perform. The science backs it up. Players shoot better, move better, and get hurt way less when they're rested. You'd raise the level of play across the board.
I need the rest, all the rest I can get.
Then you could even start the playoffs earlier and turn every game into a must-watch event. Because let's be honest, Steph Curry is the Warriors. Without him, who's really watching? Who's actually showing up to Chase Center if Steph isn't there? The man who literally changed the way basketball is played. Remember the 2020 season? No Steph, no Clay, KD gone. Viewership dropped by nearly 200,000 per game. That's the equivalent of 10 NBA arenas empty, just because the stars weren't there. Look, money matters, we get it. But chasing revenue over product, forcing quantity over quality, that's how you ruin the playoffs. And worse, that's how you walk straight into something darker around the corner. I'll always watch the NBA. It's a passion that won't fade anytime soon. But lately, I've started to notice something. Evolution doesn't reward the strongest or the fastest. It rewards the most adaptable. And in today's world of endless content, the NBA is at risk of falling behind. Gen Z and Gen Alpha have shorter attention spans, infinite options, and zero patience for filler. Yet the NBA keeps pumping out game after game, turning what used to feel like an event into background noise. Without real stakes, without deeper storytelling, without stars healthy when it matters, the magic starts to fade. Sure, the league just signed a monster media deal, but what happens a decade from now when today's kids stop caring? What happens when the next TV deal doesn't come with the same hype or the same money? We've already seen it happen. Sneaker culture used to orbit the NBA. Not anymore. Baseball once ruled America. Now it clings to nostalgia. The truth is, the world's been chasing quantity. More content, more games, more everything. And if something flops, just make another. This is a lesson for all of us. We live in a world drowning in noise. But if we slow down, even just a little, and choose to create something exceptional, not more, but better, we make the world richer. And in doing so, we invite prosperity to walk beside us. The NBA faces the same choice: more games or better ones. Because if it doesn't adapt, in 10 years, we won't be replaying Anthony Edwards dunking someone into another dimension. We'll be scrolling past a league that lost its spark.